It's a funny thing, midnight. It's not just a time on a clock. It's a moment suspended between 2 days, a crack in the world where things that shouldn't exist can slip through. I used to laugh at stuff like that. Ghost stories, urban legends. They were just fun ways to pass the time, right? But then, I moved into this old apartment building, the kind with long, echoing hallways and a history whispered in the creaks of the floorboards. That's when midnight stopped being just a time and became something else. It started subtly. Every night, exactly at 12 a.m., I'd hear a noise. At first, it was a faint scratching sound from inside my walls. I told myself it was mice. Old buildings have mice. Nothing to worry about. I'd turn up my music, put in my headphones, and ignore it. But the scratching got louder, more insistent. It wasn't the frantic scurrying of a small animal anymore. It was slow, deliberate. Scrape, pause, scrape. Like a long, sharp nail dragging against the old wood right behind my bed. I tried everything. I called an exterminator. He found nothing. No nests, no droppings, no entry points. He shrugged and said the building was just settling. But buildings don't settle with such perfect rhythmic timing. They don't wait for the clock to strike 12. A week later, the scratching was joined by a new sound, a soft, wet cough. It was a horrible rattling sound, like someone trying to clear fluid from their lungs. It was faint, but it was unmistakably human. And it came from the same spot in the wall. My rational mind was screaming at me. It's the neighbors, the pipes, the ventilation. But my apartment was on the top floor, and the wall it came from was an exterior wall. There were no pipes there. My neighbor on the other side was a sweet old lady who was deaf as a post. I knew it wasn't her. The fear started to sink in, cold and heavy in my stomach. I stopped sleeping. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the clock to hit midnight, my heart pounding in my ears. Scrape, cough, every single night. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was on the other side of that wall. Armed with a hammer and a crowbar from my toolbox, I waited. 11:59 p.m. My hands were slick with sweat. The digital clock on my nightstand blinked to 12. Scrape. The sound was so close now, so loud. I swung the hammer against the plaster. It cracked. I hit it again, and a chunk fell away, revealing the dark wooden lath underneath. Cough. The sound was right there, wet and gurgling. I jammed the crowbar into the hole and pulled. Wood splintered. Dust filled the air, and a larger section of the wall collapsed inward. And there was nothing. Just the brick of the exterior wall, old and solid. No hidden room, no cavity, no person. I stood there, panting, the hammer hanging limply in my hand. I felt foolish. Maybe I was going crazy. The stress of the new place, the isolation. It was all getting to me. I started to clean up the mess, my fear slowly being replaced by a wave of embarrassment. Then I saw it. Tucked into a gap between the bricks, almost hidden in the shadows, was a small leather-bound book, a diary. My hands trembled as I pulled it out. The leather was cracked with age, the pages yellow and brittle. The handwriting inside was elegant, loopy cursive, a style from a long time ago. The first entry was dated almost 100 years prior. It belonged to a woman named Ilara. She wrote about her life in this very apartment. She wrote about her love for a man named Thomas, about her dreams of starting a family. But as I read on, the entries grew darker. Ilara had fallen ill, a terrible wasting sickness that left her weak and confined to her bed. The doctors could do nothing. Thomas, her husband, became desperate. He started dabbling in things he shouldn't have, old rituals and forgotten texts. He was trying to find a cure, a way to save her. One entry sent a shiver down my spine. Ilara wrote, "Thomas performed a ritual tonight. He said it would bind my spirit to this place, so that even if my body fails, I will never have to leave him. He says we will be together forever." The final entry was short, the handwriting weak and shaky. The coughing is so bad now. I can feel it in my bones. It is almost midnight. Thomas is watching me. He smiles, but his eyes are not his own anymore. I am so cold. And that was it. The rest of the pages were blank. I dropped the diary. My blood ran cold. The scratching, the coughing. It was Alara, trapped in the walls of her old home, her spirit bound by some dark promise. She was reliving her final moments, night after night. But that didn't explain everything. The scratching. What was the scratching? I went back to the hole in the wall, my phone's flashlight cutting through the dusty air. I looked closer at the brickwork. There, etched into the surface of one of the bricks, were scratches, deep, desperate gouges, as if someone had been clawing at the stone. And next to them, almost invisible, was a single word, scratched over and over again. Trapped. But below that, I saw something else. Fainter, older scratches. They weren't a word. They were a name. Thomas. It was him. He wasn't trying to save her. He was trapping her. The ritual wasn't for her spirit to stay with him. It was to imprison her. The scratching wasn't her. It was him, trying to get out from whatever hell he damned himself to by performing that ritual. Or maybe he was trying to get back in. Suddenly, from the hole in the wall came a new sound. It wasn't a scratch or a cough, it was a whisper, a dry, rasping whisper that seemed to slither out of the darkness. It was a man's voice, and it said my name. I didn't pack. I didn't grab anything, I just ran. I sprinted out of the apartment, down the echoing hallway, and out into the night. I didn't look back. I never went back. I left everything behind. I heard later that the apartment was rented out again. The new tenant, a young student, broke his lease after only a week. He told the landlord he couldn't sleep. He said every night, exactly at midnight, he'd hear noises from the wall, a woman coughing and a man whispering his name, begging to be let in. Some places have memories. They hold on to echoes of the past. But my old apartment, it holds something more. It holds a promise made in desperation, a love that turned to poison, and two souls trapped in an eternal midnight. And sometimes, when I'm lying in bed and the world outside is quiet, I can almost hear it. A faint scratching. And I know, somewhere in that old building, the clock is about to strike 12. Thanks for watching. If you have a story that keeps you up at night, share it in the comments. And don't forget to follow for more tales from the dark. Sleep well.